In this video, I'm going to cover the new form editing features in GraphPad Configurable. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to start off by just showing how to edit a form. So we would just open a blank form and pick this drawing form. And in this case, what I'm going to do is I'm going to add some space and put my company logo in the upper right-hand corner. So the first thing I need to do is go into text mode, and I'm going to settings. And I'm going to change this entire form so I can edit by hitting this one button, Edit Form. And what we'll see is everything's turned into a regular object that I can now move around. And close this out, and what I'll do is, actually we'll zoom down a little bit and go into points mode. And now I'll just create a selection area that grabs the top part of this form. And I'll go to Translate, and I'm going to put in, I want to move it down 0.5. And down. Okay, and that's created enough space for us. Now I could actually, let's undo that, and we'll move, we missed the top part of this. So we'll try that again, hit offset, there we go. And now what I'll do is I'll go into the photo library and I'll grab my company logo that I've loaded. It's a little bit too big, so we'll shrink it right down. And now I'll just move that into position. And if I was happy with this, what I would do is then just save this as a new document type. And I'd say Save Template. And I'm going to call this just New Form. The name is important because this name is going to be the name that it's both saved as, and then also is going to appear in our new documents. And we'll hit Save. And now to use this form, all I do is go into New. We'll see my new form. And there we go. We've got our new form. Now there's other capabilities that we need to discuss. So first off, we'll see that we've got the ability to turn on a bunch of symbols. We also can change the actual page size. So for our form, that may be important. Now to show the sequence IDs, so if we look over here at the end of each field, it's going to show the order in which it's going to tab. So for example, if I type in this one field, type in a value and hit return, that's the order it tabs by. We also have the template ID. That's the ID that the system has for each one of these fields. We can't change that ID, but it is useful for using for calculations, etc. We can also turn the mirror IDs on. Essentially what that does is we can specify if I type into one field, it will automatically copy it to another field. That field that it copies to is the mirror ID. We'll turn these others off, and then there's also the field names. And so we'll see these are the names for integration with backend systems, but also if it's got a field name, then it would actually copy it to the next page, etc. Now, how do we actually utilize these, modify these? Again, we're going to have to go in and make it into an editable form. Okay, make sure it's that, and go to text mode. And now if we go to properties, and we'll kind of zoom in on a particular field that we want to work with, in text mode, if we touch a field, we'll notice the handle turns orange and the data gets populated inside this properties form. We have the field name, which is going to be used for integration, the default value, if we want to have something, for example, defaulted, or if we wanted to have a label, then that would be the text in the label. We also have the type down here, pixel perfect location, X and Y, width and height. The type, that's going to be in the documentation, but a type 2 is a editable field, a type 0 is a label, etc. We have the list ID, so we do have, for a certain type of field, we have the list. We would actually populate it with the drop-down list box, or list of values that's been created. Go back over into our properties. We have the sequence, which we talked about, and the mirror ID. And all of these fields, all these fields are editable, so we could actually just go in and type in the value. Now, that's great for actually modifying a form, but what if we want to create our own form from scratch? Again, we would just go ahead and we'd start from a brand new field, so our document. So we'd select a portrait. We can then draw our lines that we want for a particular, just to make it look a little more nice, And then we just draw in our text fields. Okay, so we draw in a text field, we type in what we want as the default text. If I can spell, customer return. Actually, back that up. move it to where we want it to be. We can resize it. And now we could actually put in our editable field. In this case, we're not going to want to have any text there, so we just kind of return or move out of it. We'll position it. We can use all the features that we have in GraphPad. So for example, we can go to text and align top and kind of move it to where we want those two fields to be located. For this particular field, we go to properties. We change that to a type 2, which is a form field. When we hit return, we'll notice it changes the color. We could put in, for example, the field name. NA means it's not going to be used by the system, but we could type in, for example, customer, and that would be the name it would actually use. Hang on one second. So, yeah, okay, we're looking good. And now to actually use this, all we'd have to do is just go in, save this template, and we'll just type this as test. This again is the name that it's going to appear in our new documents. And now just open our test document. Tab in the field, type in our value, hit return. So that shows basically how the new feature is going to work. I'm going to continue to add to this. So for example, calculations has been disabled. List does not have the ability to add new list of values, but all of this will be coming with various different releases. And that's my presentation, and I hope you enjoyed that. Thank you.